The verdant ring woke with motion. Leaves shifted above the market lanes as the habitat nudged its light cycle forward, and warm air flowed through the stone corridors smelling of fruit, grilled meat, treated fabric, and clean mineral water. The market floor was pale and worn smooth, traced with faint lines that kept traffic orderly. Cedric Cade moved through the central lane with one hand holding mirrors and the other holding Lynn's. He looked like a man on an errand-work trousers, scuffed boots, satchel at his hip, but his eyes worked the way they always did in crowds. Exits, spacing, reflections. Habit, not fear. The girls had a school festival coming up. They needed blue cloth for banners and nutrient fruit for shared meals. Cedric had taken a half day from Guild Roots to do it himself, because he wanted the day to feel simple and normal. After the blue fabric, Mira said, pointing with brisk certainty, "Can we get grilled strips? 1 pack," Cedric said. "Not 2. Mira nodded, satisfied by clear terms. Lynn, 6, stayed quiet and close, her fringe already falling into her eyes. They passed a water fountain and a stall of folded wraps. Then a calm voice cut through the market noise. "Pick any alien woman." Cedric stopped without choosing to. Mira stopped because his hand stopped. Lynn stopped because the tension in his grip changed. A raised stone platform stood off the main lane beneath a canopy grown into an arch. No guards, no visible weapons. A woman stood on the polished stone in heavy cuffs linked by a short chain. Green skin, olive-toned. Long red hair dulled by dust. A costume meant to invite appraisal. None of it reached her eyes. She held herself straight, chin lifted, watching the crowd with controlled, tired alertness. Beside her, the trader smiled like it was a raffle. "Pick any alien woman," he repeated, louder. Disgust settled in Cedric's chest. He'd seen predatory contracts before, but never offered this openly. In a family market lane, Mira didn't look at the costume. She looked at the woman's face. "Papa," she said quietly. "That one." Lynn tilted her head, studying the chained wrists. "Help," she whispered. Cedric felt the decision lock into place. He stepped forward with the girls, body angled instinctively to shield them from the crowd's gaze. People shifted aside, surprised. He kept his voice level. "What's her contract?" "Standard entertainment lean," the trader said. "Clean and legal. Who owns it?" The trader chuckled. "Someone important." I asked who. "You don't need the name." "I do," Cedric said, and his tone made it clear. It wasn't a request. Mira stared at the cuffs. "Is she hungry?" The trader laughed. "She eats when she earns it." Cedric's anger sharpened. "Don't talk to my kid." The trader's smile thinned. Lynn looked at the woman's wrists. "Does it hurt?" Silence had kept Sarah Ruin alive for months, but the child's question slipped past that armor. "It hurts," she said, low and controlled. The trader shot her a warning look. Sarah held her gaze anyway. Cedric pushed. "Debt amount. Filing date. Witness. You're not here for paperwork." The trader scoffed. "I am now." The trader leaned closer. "You file cargo routes, Cade. You don't buy trouble." Cedric went still. He hadn't given his name. His mind began mapping who in the market would have that information and why it was being used now. Public market, Cedric said calmly. People talk. Exactly, the trader replied, pleased. Cedric glanced at the posted seal near the platform and memorized its shape. He pulled a notebook from his satchel and wrote the trader's badge number slowly, visibly. A few people leaned in, interest shifting from flesh to procedure. He guided the girls back a step. We're not leaving her, he told them quietly. We're finding out who put the chain there. Will she still be here? Lynn asked. Today, Cedric said. I'm coming back. He walked away without hurrying, stopping at a fabric stall as cover while he watched reflections. He kept his fingers on bolts of cloth he didn't care about, and listened to the way the crowd breathed behind him. He saw the trader murmur to a clerk. The clerk nodded like this was routine. Mira's voice came out tight. Are you going to help her? Cedric didn't promise what he couldn't guarantee, but he didn't lie. I'm going to find out how, he said, and then I'm going to do it the right way. Lynn rubbed her fingers together. Not loud, she whispered. Loud makes people mean. Cedric swallowed. You're right, he told her. We do this steady, in a quieter corridor. Cedric bought the blue fabric, then skewers of meat because stress burned energy fast. The girls ate standing under hanging vines that softened sound. You're mad, Mira said. Yes, Cedric answered. Good, she said. Fierce, because that wasn't okay. At home, Cedric made the day normal shoes lined by the door, hands washed, food eaten. Homework started, then knelt so his face was level with theirs. What you saw isn't normal, he said. If anyone ever talks to you like that trader did, you come to me every time. I'm going back, he added, but not with you. You stay here. I will come back. Mira opened her mouth to argue, then shut it when she read his face. We stay, she said, resigned but trusting. Cedric paused at the door with his hand on the latch, watching their small faces hold brave. I'm proud of you, he said, and their shoulders straightened as if he'd handed them armor. Once outside, he rinsed the market noise out of his head by doing what he knew. Numbers. He opened registries on his slate-lean filings, intermediaries. Seal histories and followed the money the way he followed cargo, by tracing where it actually went. One name kept surfacing, Vela Sen, Cultural Logistics. Cedric returned through service corridors used by vendors and maintenance crews. The platform was still there. New faces in the crowd, same posture. Sarah stood steady, scanning. Her posture the only thing she still fully controlled. Cedric didn't approach directly. He spoke with a market clerk, exchanged documents, and then stepped onto the marked edge of the dispute days. I filed a dispute, he said, voice carrying just enough. The trader scoffed. You can't. I already did, Cedric replied. Public review, open days. Bring your documents. The lights over the days shifted to neutral for recording. People edged closer. A clerk raised a tablet. Dispute logged. State your claim. Cedric laid pages on the stone. False representation, he said. Mismatched seals. Injuries cited without care documentation. and a payment loop routed through a private account that isn't the market's. Vela Sen stood behind the trader with an expression of practiced concern. "You don't understand performance debts," he said mildly. "I understand ledgers," Cedric replied, "and incentives." Cedric tapped the seal imprint. "Retired. Doesn't match registry." He turned a page. "Injury cited. No medical stamp. No treatment record." The clerk's eyes flicked. To the tablet. "The record shows no medical filing," he admitted. Vela tried to keep control. She refused scheduled appearances. Sarah stepped forward as far as the chain allowed. "I refused because I was injured," she said. "You told me to perform anyway." Cedric turned to her. "Treatment?" "No," Sarah said. "None." Cedric faced the clerk. "Then the debt lacks required care documentation." The trader tried to pivot. "Interim authority. She stays displayed." Cedric lifted a ring of keys. "Left unsecured on your table," he said, "including the lock key for her cuffs." The crowd reacted sharp. Collective. The trader flushed, suddenly aware that he was being recorded. The clerk's voice firmed. "Market code prohibits unsecured restraint. Temporary. Release pending review under supervision." Cedric stepped to Sarah and held up the key without touching her. "May I?" Sarah's instincts flared. Then she forced her chin up and nodded. "Yes." Metal clicked open. The chain fell away. Sarah swayed on unsteady legs. Circulation. Returning like fire, Cedric caught her at the elbow firm. Careful then positioned himself between her and the crowd as they walked through a delivery gate. Into the cool service corridor. "Why?" Sarah asked, breathless, palm on the wall. "For balance." "Why you?" "Because my kid saw you," Cedric said. "And because you don't belong on a platform." He guided her to a lift. As it descended, Sarah wrapped her arms around herself, suddenly aware of bare feet and exposed skin. Freedom made her feel more visible, not less. Cedric took off his jacket and draped it over her shoulders without ceremony. "You don't owe me," he said when she managed thanks. "No terms." Sarah huffed out a short laugh. "People say that right before listing them." "Not today," Cedric replied. And the lift opened onto softer light and quieter air. Inside Cedric's apartment, the smell of cooked meat and clean fabric hit Sarah like a memory she didn't own. Shoes lined the wall. School papers sat on a low table. Mira and Lynn stared at her with the blunt intensity only children could manage. Mira whispered, "Odd, you're here." Lynn offered Sarah a folded napkin. "Your feet." Sarah crouched carefully and took it. "Thank you," she said, and felt her throat tighten around the simple kindness. "This is temporary," Cedric told her, locking the door. "You can stay while we sort the rest." "The rest?" Sarah repeated, wary. "Food," Mira said, "and a shower." Warm water and steam did what adrenaline couldn't. Loosen the muscles. Sarah had held tight for months. She peeled off the market costume and folded it by habit, as if neat lines could keep consequences away. When she came out, Cedric set a plate in front of her meat, grain mash, flatbread, and leaned against the counter as if giving her space to decide what reality she lived in. Sarah ate slowly, methodically, testing the room for punishment. None came. "You can eat all of it," Mira told her, fierce. "No one counts here." After the girls went to bed, Cedric laid papers on the table again, not like an interrogation, like a plan. "Tomorrow we go to civil registry," he said. "Not the market office. Different staff, different records. They'll come for me," Sarah said. And she hated how quickly the fear found a voice. "They won't come through my door," Cedric replied, not quietly, not without leaving a trail. He met her eyes, and "I'm good at trails." Sarah stood by the living room window after that, watching lights drift behind the leaf screens outside. The market felt unreal from here, like something that had happened to a different body. Her hands kept trying to fold into fists. She forced them open. "I don't know how to be here," she said without turning. Cedric didn't crowd her. He stopped a few steps back, leaving space that wasn't abandonment. "You don't have to know yet," he said. "Just breathe, just eat, just sleep." "And if they come anyway?" she asked. "Then they come loudly," Cedric replied, "and everyone hears. That's the point of daylight." Sarah let that settle. She glanced toward the hallway where the girls slept. "They're not afraid of me," she said, surprised by the sting in her voice. "They're afraid of chains," Cedric said simply. "Not you." For the first time, Sarah's shoulders dropped a fraction. "Couch is fine," she added quickly. Cedric nodded like it was the most normal thing in the world. "Couch is fine," he agreed. "I'll be here in the morning." The next day, Cedric took her to civil registry with the dispute notice and a suspended lien on record. The clerk flagged her file, then cleared it when Cedric's documentation matched the system. Procedure, not mercy, and Sarah found she could breathe under procedure. Afterward, Cedric brought her to a small clothing shop and waited while she chose clothes she could control. Back at the apartment, Sarah set the new clothes on a chair with careful precision, then left them slightly askew, testing what it meant to not be punished for imperfection. "I'm not staying forever," she said that evening. "I know," Cedric answered, "but I don't want to leave tomorrow." "That works," he said, and the steadiness of it made something inside her loosen. Later, when the apartment had settled into dusk and the girls were asleep, Sarah crossed the space between them and asked, "Is this all right?" "Yes," Cedric said immediately. Then, quieter, "Only if you choose it." "I'm choosing," Sarah said. They found closeness gently, with pauses and quiet check-ins, and the night proved a new truth in her body. Yes could be safe. Stop could be honored. In the morning, Cedric made breakfast as if nothing fragile had to be protected by pretending it hadn't happened. He moved with steady care, and Sarah realized that was its own kind of tenderness, one that didn't demand performance. Days passed. Cedric kept the dispute moving in daylight, using audits and public filings to squeeze the lie until it showed its seams. Vela Sen responded through intermediaries, polite threats wrapped in delays. Cedric answered with more visibility. Sarah learned the ring again in small steps walks in courtyards, meals that didn't come with counting, ordinary afternoons that didn't ask her to perform. One morning, Cedric said, "There's something I want to do, if you're willing." He sat with her at the table, fingers resting near his mug like he needed the weight of it. Not ownership, he said, not protection, just a shared registry entry, residency, choice. Sarah stared at him, stunned by how carefully he said it. At the civic office, a clerk confirmed the entry. Shared residence. Voluntary? Yes, Cedric replied. Yes, Sarah echoed, voice steady. A thumbprint. A signature. A soft confirmation chime small. Final. The paper didn't make her his. It made her visible by her own choice. On the balcony later, the scent of citrus turned Sarah's stomach hard. It happened again at dinner, sharper. Understanding arrived quietly. She found Cedric folding laundry with careful hands. Cedric, she said. He looked up. What is it? Sarah drew a slow breath. I think I'm pregnant. Cedric went still, searched her face, and then nodded once. All right, he said, simple as a promise. Sarah's knees nearly gave with relief. Cedric stepped closer and rested his forehead against hers. We'll decide everything in daylight, he murmured. Nothing gets taken from you here. That's all I need, Sarah whispered back, and believed it. That night, Mira told a story at dinner that made Cedric laugh out loud. Lynn leaned against Sarah's arm, half asleep. Sarah rested a hand over her stomach and felt something settle deep inside her. Not rescue. Not dead choice, repeated in ordinary light, outside. The ring continued its steady rotation. Inside, a small world held fast, built from paperwork, meals, held hands, and the quiet decision to look at what was wrong and refuse to pretend it was normal.